What's going on, everyone? Brock from Brock and Sindri back again with another Mass Effect Monday.
It's just another
Mass Effect
Monday.
And this week I'm talking about, well, what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks is writing fanfic, doing a bit of fanfic for what story I both want and would propose for the upcoming Mass Effect sequels. And to do that, we actually have to fix some of the wrongs, or not necessarily wrongs, but some of the more controversial elements of the previous game, in particular Mass Effect 3. So if you haven't been watching this channel since the beginning, and I don't blame you if you haven't, but if you haven't, we did a video right back near where we began back in early 2019, where Sindri and I did a long tail review of Mass Effect Andromeda, and where we talked about its kind of shortcomings as a game, and where we have to first of all say the virtues of it as a game. It's a great standalone game, but it's not Mass Effect, it's a spin-off to us. And in a spin-off, there are elements of that can be considered canon, and there are elements that can be considered not canon, as with a lot of spin-offs. We're going to consider it canon, but we're going to put it in its own little pile. It's a separate series, right? It's a bit like Joey after Friends, right? Like, it didn't quite follow exactly in canon, but it's there. Maybe not the best example, but you get what I mean. So what we need to do is we need to do a sequel to Mass Effect 3. What happens next in the Milky Way? Is it going to be a continuation of Shepard's story or not? Well, I'm not going to answer every single question in this video, but I am going to set it up. So Mass Effect 3 to me pulls down the series, and we did a video on this too, which I'll link below, but we did it that the ending is not the only reason why Mass Effect 3 kind of sucks. Now, I go in cycles. I play Mass Effect trilogy every 1 to 2 years, right? Ever since it came out, and I do a different playthrough each time. And sometimes I really hate on Mass Effect 3, and other times I'm enjoying it. In this particular playthrough, I'm enjoying it a lot more, and it also coincides with my first ever romance of Tali, so it's a whole new experience for me in that regard. And I'm also being a biotic, like I think it's a Sentinel or a Vanguard or something like that. That's a biotic for the first time in a very long time, and I'm really enjoying that aspect too, because I feel like an absolute biotic god. Niftu Cal, hello. Now, what were some of our major concerns from Mass Effect 3 were there were not enough of the characters from before. Your squad, whilst bigger than Mass Effect 1, also had a lot of like new characters or people that you didn't care quite as much about. And then the characters that you cared about from previous games were sort of consigned to a lot of sort of cameo appearances. Jack, Miranda, Jacob, Samara, etc. And I thought that we wanted to, that was something that we should have been fixed in Mass Effect 3. We should have had more of that. Like, we're sort of lumped with James, and to act as if James is this really, like, cool, big new sidekick character. But to be honest, like, if you didn't watch Paragon Lost, the anime movie, then a lot of his sort of character work and character building was kind of missed. And he's just kind of an obnoxious character in Mass Effect 3, to be honest. No matter which choice you make, he's always there to me with that dude bro attitude. And I'm not against that in general, right? But like, playing as a male Shep, I'm the dude bro character. I don't need another one. Anyway, that's another story for another time. But James was not a bad character, and I felt like he probably could have had a bit more impetus in there, and maybe could have been a bit better if we still had our favourites, if we could have still recruited some of our previous favourites and had more airtime with them. So that was one thing. A lot of the characters were acting out of character as well, and a lot of the species, it didn't make sense, and Cerberus suddenly being like as widespread almost as the Reapers was ridiculous. So there's a lot of factors in there. But of course, the key one is that ending. What the hell was the ending? What did it mean? You have gone through 3 huge games worth, epic journey to battle the Reapers and save the galaxy, and then it's this ambiguous ending. So, let's clear that up straight away. That's the first thing we're going to do. What is the ending? Well, I don't think the Crucible as a thing is that bad, but what I think it should be is Shepard gets into the Crucible, basically, and the Crucible turned into, it's going to sound really cheesy, but like a kind of, maybe it is like a sort of some kind of fusion, and it turns into like a weapon, and a weapon in which you can actually shoot essentially your quote-unquote laser at the Reapers. And so basically the ending is that he chases off the Reapers, killing as many as he can as he goes, chasing them back into dark space, and maybe a couple get away, but they're basically put off. And either this cycle is finished, as in the ones that survive are going to save it for another 50,000 years and just say, okay, we've missed this go round, or he kind of scares them off for good. But it doesn't actually matter, it doesn't affect us, because 50,000 years is a long time. So basically Shepard does fight back, fight them off, and basically wins. But that the Crucible and Shepard go missing after this, that they're not found, that the battle is won, and Shepard basically does still sacrifice himself to make that one, but that they go missing. And there's no need for the merge of synthetic and organic life, there's no need for destroy, and there's no need for control or any of that. So it's just they are gone, and the battle effects are felt across the galaxy, and there's a rebuild that needs to happen. And that is where we go next. How far do you go in the next game for seeing the rebuild? And I'm proposing you go 20 to 25 years. And in the next week's video, I'll talk to you about why that is and what my proposed story is. But on to the next thing that we need to fix from before. And well, I think one of the things we need to fix from before as well is Cerberus's involvement. And so I'm gonna slightly suggest that Cerberus were a bit OP, overpowered in Mass Effect 3 compared with what before. Now there's some cursory explanations, they've come across a lot of Reaper tech and Collector tech and all that. Okay, forget about it. There was too much Cerberus considering. Now we're going to instead, we're going to say that they were still doing a lot of what they were doing and going a little bit off the wall, and maybe scuppering some of, or sabotaging for my non-British friends, some of Shepard's attempts at, or people's attempts at fighting the Reapers because they were indoctrinated. However, we're just going to limit some of their impetus, and to the point where the elusive man is not destroyed in that scene at the very end, that he's not there at all, that there was a bit of a distraction, and that Shepard still launches his attack on, Kronos Station, but the elusive man's not there. And he's also not at the Crucible at Earth at the end. He's gone. So he's still around somehow. There's something with him. And this will tie into Andromeda a little bit as well. In the video we did on Cora Harper, the squad mate in there, who shares the surname of Jack Harper, which is the original name, supposedly, of the elusive man, pre-Cerberus. And we're going to say that Cerberus decided that the way for humanity forward and the way for Cerberus was to expand into the Andromeda galaxy. And the Cerberus arc goes that way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to limit what Cerberus had done during the events of Mass Effect 3, and we're going to say that the elusive man doesn't get destroyed, that Cerberus lives on in a different way, but that it's not as big of a factor as it was in the Mass Effect 3. There's still elements of it, but it's not as big of a factor. And the next thing we need to fix is more character work, please. Now we have to make certain decisions canon. And, for a long time, there are fans that have said that the most canon romance option for Shepard, whether male or femshep, is Liara. And there's a lot of great arguments for that. So, what we are going to do is we are going to say that in canon, when you start the next Mass Effect game, you can choose essentially from three characters as the canon romance option. You can choose Liara, whether you're male or femshep. You can choose Ashley, whether you're male or femshep, and you could choose Kaidan, whether you're male and femshep, with the canon idea being that, Ashley is for male shep and Kaidan is for femshep, but you would be able to do it for both. And the reason why I'm saying maybe you do it for fem or for male shep is, and I'll expand on this in the next video next week, is because there's going to be some story elements as to why we need a canon romance option. And like I said, there is a lot of I guess question marks over now. Krogans have had the genophage cured, have they? Because that was a choice. You could sabotage that. Well, we're going to canonize the fact that they did have it cured. We're going to canonize the fact that Palaven was saved. We're going to canonize the fact that the Geth and the Quarians, for now at least, have reconciled. And Shepard brought them together, and this is Shepard's main legacy. Is not just sacrificing himself to chase off the Reapers, but it was bringing the galaxy together on its major issues. Now there's going to be other issues that are going to come up, but we've also got a few things to think about, and I'm leaving teasers here, but you can probably work it out. There's a new species / old species in the universe, in the galaxy, I should say, sorry. The Protheans. There's a Prothean that's back. And we're in Mass Effect 3, it was suggested that he was the last remaining life pod. But there was hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of life pods across the galaxy of Protheans supposedly somewhere. You're telling me that none of the rest survived? Not buying it. So I'll leave that there. That's going to do it for this video. Those are the things that we're kind of fixing from before, and then in the next video we can go into what the story is going to be. See you next week.